Sup guys, the name's Arna Dragonhill and welcome back to Seduce Me the Otome. So last we left off, we know about more of James. Hippy hooray. And we defeated Malix too. But then Diana's here. So yeah, alright, with that, let's continue. God damn it! Sorry. Okay. I suddenly tensed up. I felt majorly uneasy. Something wasn't right. I felt it in my core. She must be here. The thought of her in the house infuriated me beyond belief. I had to make sure she was not here. I rolled out of bed and quickly left my room, wandering the halls and listening closely. She was a demon, but I was listening very intently. There was no way she would have been able to sneak up on me. I know you're here. Where are you? I could feel myself growl. It wasn't a matter of fear that she'd take away the boys anymore. Her very existence had lit a fire of rage within my gut, which only grew as each day went by. It's only been a day, man. What the hell? This feud was getting on my nerves, and I knew it would not end well for one of us. I wasn't going to lose to that demon bitch.
Diana, what are you doing here?
Oh dear. My heart stopped. Diana was with James. My mind flew into slow motion, playing fake images of Diana trying to seduce James in my head to further fan the angry flame inside of me. I instinctively followed James's voice and approached the study. The door was open just a crack, wide enough to peek in without being noticed. I peeked inside to see James by the bookshelf with Diana in one of the armchairs, looking to him.
Silly man, why do you think I'm here?
To be fairly honest, I don't really care.
I'm hurt, wounded, truly. You don't care that I came to this pathetic little world just for you?
I'm just gonna lower this a little bit. Hopefully you guys can still hear the background music.
I'm sorry, let me make this clear. You are not welcome here, so I suggest leaving.
Oh,
Is that any way to speak to your fiancé?
excuse me? Diana wasn't his fiancée anymore. Why was she speaking as if the arrangement was still going on?
Our arrangement was broken when I left the Abyssal Plains. You are no longer my fiancé.
What a stubborn man, just like your father. Well, you should know, he decreed that should you return home, you'll maintain your status and keep your birthright.
James would be in the air again? Why?
I don't want it.
You don't want it. You'd give up the...
I said I don't want my damned birthright. What birthright? It's imprisonment, a life sentence. Am I not allowed to be selfish for once in my lifetime?
Oh shit, man. Well, let the man do what he wants, Matt. God damn, he's been stuck studying for years. I understand what you're going through, man.
It's your reason for your birth. Do you not realize what you have?
I could feel James's anger emanating from the crack in the door, fighting with Diana's tension. Diana and James were both matched, staring at each other now.
I know exactly what I had. That's all behind me. I'm done with that. To hell with my birthright.
To hell with your birthright. You truly think you can decide that? You are the first son of the Demon Lord. You are the heir to the throne, and I am your bride, the next Demon Queen.
Why was Diana so desperate? It irked me to see how desperate she was to get James to return.
Graystrow, you...
All of a sudden, James ran up at Diana and pinned her to the floor by her neck. I felt the need to jump in, but I knew James wasn't trying to do anything romantic. He wouldn't. She just said his real name. Come on. No, that's a no-no in his book. His voice sent shivers down my spine as they continued to speak with his hand at her throat.
And what gives you the right to use my name like that? Only demons of the same blood are permitted to use each other's true names.
When our families arranged our marriage, I was given permission to use your name as mine. That's what you are, James. You are my husband. I am your queen. You are my Raestrow. I am your Iseud.
Iseud. That's her real name. That's cool, actually. Very cool. I could hear James growling in anger, like he was ready to bite Diana's head off like a wolf would a small deer. I felt myself growl quietly to myself as well. However, James pushed himself off of the floor and returned to the opposite side of the room, away from the prone Diana.
I do not belong to you. I belong to her.
Did you just claim... Did you just claim me? Did he just claim me? I think he just claimed me. I'm going to scream. I am screaming eternally right now. Okay.
The human girl? You must be joking. A human like her can't possibly provide you what you need. She's a human. You're a demon.
I felt the urge to storm in and shut her mouth. It would give away my position, but I was growing extremely tired of Diana. Barge in and set her straight. I decided to be assertive and quickly stepped into the room, throwing the door to the study wide open. Diana and James looked at me in surprise as I glared daggers at Diana. Get out.
Well, well, little human. You're awfully nosy in business that doesn't concern you.
It does concern me.
Does it? I don't think a human would understand the importance of this affair.
You're asking him to leave to be someone he doesn't want to be. That's not going to happen.
Oh? And what makes you so sure about that?
I love him! Diana stared in shock at my exclamation. Was it not what she expected? I didn't care what she expected. I wasn't going to lose the man I had grown to love.
You love him?
Yes, I love him. Diana's lips twitched, the edges curling into an amused smirk as she stared at me.
So what? A human's love isn't enough to understand the situation. A demon can never reciprocate human feeling.
To both of our surprise, however, James stepped forward and put an arm around me, pulling me close to his body.
I love her.
Oh my God! I saw the confidence Diana had shatter in her eyes as she stared at James at his words. I could see the struggle in her face to try some weakness in James. In me. Anything.
A demon love a human? Impossible.
No, it's not.
It's only impossible because you don't have the capability to love. This woman has given so much to shelter me and my brothers and has given me her heart to cherish. I'd rather care for this woman for the rest of my days than spend an eternity on the demon throne. Especially if the queen is you.
That last sentence, that must hurt. That must really hurt. Okay. Diana took a step back, physically feeling the sting of James's words in her chest. She had lost. I could see it in her eyes. Diana's eyes grew dull as she glared at me and James. It seemed almost uncharacteristic of her, yet it was something I wasn't surprised to see come from her face.
Very well. Fine. Valet.
And with that, Diana faded into the ground into a purple pentagram, crossing her arms and almost looking upset. James and I were then left alone, left with silence of the room. I finally let out the air I was unconsciously holding in my chest, relaxing from the ordeal. James stepped up to me and held me gently, surprising me.
Are you okay?
I nodded in response, unable to speak so immediately after being surprised. James let out a sigh, relaxing in the embrace. I gently placed my hands around him, returning the embrace slightly. I could hear James's heartbeat. He held me close in his arms, and I felt safe beyond words.
I wasn't lying, you know.
I looked up at James, wondering what he meant by what he said. James smiled down at me, moving a strand of my hair from my face to look down at me.
I love you. I love every single fiber of you. Your mind, your body, your soul. You're quite possibly the most interesting woman I have ever met. You always find your way into my mind. You...
Oh my God! Stop it! Stop! I stared wide-eyed, blushing like a maniac. Was this real? No way. This couldn't be. Was Jesus confessing to me? Confessing his love for me? Girl, you know it, and you better accept it. James gently smiled and caressed my cheek. The warmth of his hand invited me to nuzzle into it, and I closed my eyes. This wasn't a dream. My heart was pounding to the point where I was sure James could hear it. James gently leaned in, closing his eyes. He stopped, however, remaining just a mere torturous inch away from my lips. He wanted me to show my feelings for him. Yeah, I read that right. He had left himself open for me to kiss him or leave him empty. The power I had was unbelievable. Kiss him, duh! Don't leave him hanging. I loved him and wanted to give him exactly what he wanted. I gently leaned in, letting my lips finally touch his gingerly. James let out an almost pleasured purr against my lips before wrapping both of his arms around my waist, pulling me close to him. I moved my arms up and around his neck, feeling the kiss between us deepen to a heated height. My chest was pounding, making me feel and see fireworks in my mind. James was everything I desired. He was the man I wanted, demon or not. It was also supernatural to fall in love with someone so quickly. Maybe it was the sense magic I was thrown into. Maybe it was Cupid playing with my heart. Either way, I found myself melting at the thought of him being with me. I found myself combing my fingers through James's hair, making the man holding me softly tremble at my touch. He gently nibbled on my lower lip, asking me to deepen the kiss between us even further. I easily teased him before finally opening my mouth slightly for him. His tongue gently danced with mine as one of his hands slid up my back and cradled my head. He gently leaned my body back, making me cling to him as the heat of our kiss rose higher and higher. Gently, though, James slowed the kiss down and pulled away, staring down at me. His eyes burned for me, wanting me to melt and buckle in his arms. I could feel myself melt already. James opened his mouth to speak, but as a very small blush ran across his cheeks, he was reduced to shy silence. I stared as he tried to find the words to say in my eyes. I knew exactly what he wanted. He didn't need energy though, right? Are you?
No,
I stared wide-eyed, feeling a blush on my cheeks grow. He didn't say anything more, but I knew what words would have followed if he continued. He wanted me. I was stunned. Was I that appealing to him? Was his passion really that deep for me? James gently lifted his head and kissed my forehead, losing the blush and finally being able to speak.
If you don't want to, we don't have to.
I could feel my mind go numb and purr at the idea. A moment with an incubus. He was the demon of sex, the purest form of lust and desire. My world would rock, and I would enjoy every second of it. At the same time, I was indeed inexperienced. Diana wasn't wrong when she claimed me to be innocent. Did I want to give that innocence to him, especially this early? I found myself forgetting the words yes and no. What could I say to him? I knew what I wanted, but how to say it without breaking the moment. Going for the smut all the way. So if you don't want to, just skip all of this. Whew. Seduce me. I couldn't believe the two words that came out of my mouth. It made the most sense to tell him yes. Oh yeah, by the way, it doesn't matter if you have sex or not. You'll still have the true ending if you choose whether to have sex with him or whether to not have sex with him. Alright. I needed him. I wanted him. Those two words must have made something in him finally break. James quickly resumed the kiss with me, to which I eagerly kissed back and pulled him closer to my body. The heat of my chest was craving his touch, and I needed to deny any space between us. James lowered a hand and brought one of my legs around his waist, as he lowered his other hand to my waist. Without breaking the kiss, I gripped onto his shoulders and jumped off my feet, wrapping both of my legs around him and making him hold me up. His touch kept raising my need for him higher and higher, bringing my mind to the desire that was buried in the back of my mind. James held me close, kissing me deep and making me moan against his lips. I could feel our bodies sink into the ground, noticing a gentle glow penetrate through my closed eyelids. Before I could open my eyes, however, I felt our bodies fall into a familiar feeling bed with James landing on top of me. Oh god damn, okay. I stared up at James as he pulled his face slowly away from mine. His eyes were almost glowing in the dark room, piercing into my soul and making me shiver in anticipation. He effortlessly removed his gray sweater and red tie, leaving him in his tightly fitted white button-up over me. I could practically feel the heat of his skin through the thin fabric. However, as he held me, I could slightly feel the shiver of his hands. He was nervous? Was I his first? He wasn't going to show it. He wanted me to enjoy this moment, but was afraid of screwing up. His shivering hands showed me his emotions perfectly. I gently reached up and brought his head down, kissing him once again. I wanted him not to worry. The pleasure between us would be heavenly and we'd go through it together. I closed my eyes and gave myself to James. My body, my mind, my soul, it all belonged to him as he held me. His body, his mind, his soul, it all belonged to me as I gave into his embrace. His kisses and fingers over my skin would forever engrave themselves into my memory as our passion rose through incredible heights. Our breaths and moans to each other equally sounded and echoed like a blissful chant we'd never wished to end. We kept moving, loving, feeling every inch of our bodies until we had had enough and I was enveloped in his embrace. Skin to skin, heartbeats matching, we held each other in the glow of the aftermath. I nuzzled my head under James's chin as he held me close.
I love you so much.
I love you too. Just to hear those words come from James's mouth made my heart flutter. To hear me answer made my soul warm in glee. I could feel both of us sink into a peaceful sleep together. It was the best sleep I had had in days, and I was happy. I had love, and I had happiness. My happiness. My life was simply perfect. While I opened my eyes, I found myself staring into James's bare chest. I blushed, but looked up to see James, still sleeping. His sleeping face made me giggle softly, but the reality of the situation made my heart flutter. I couldn't believe it. I was lying next to a man I had grown to love with all of my heart. His warm embrace made me feel safe as the tender moment we shared replayed in my head. I couldn't help but smile and snuggle into his chest further. Unconsciously, he held me to his body, giving me more of his warmth. I didn't want to move, but then my core, okay, I'm just going to skip all of this. Blah, blah, blah. If you want to know what the deal was, go back to my Matthew route. Basically, she offered to give us anything she wanted in exchange for the boys, and to that we say, hell to the fuck no. She must have been crazier than I thought. I glared. Absolutely not. I decided to stop on the railing. Okay, I'm just gonna skip all of that. Whoops! I am so sorry. I skipped all of that. Okay. I'll be right back. Okay, so she left. I'm sorry. I had to get back to here so I didn't miss anything for you guys. So she stole energy from us and then went back home. So that's the end of that. So we snuggled into him and we're happy now. The rest of the story can almost be passed over. With Diana gone, my life returned to normal with school and my friends not remembering what had happened. It was as if magic never even appeared in my world. One thing was for certain, however. James loved me and I loved him just as much. We had promised our lives to each other and nothing was going to take that away from us. Not even time itself. Our love was so powerful, it practically overwhelmed me with joy every time I found him holding me close every morning. To think, an ex-demon prince in love with a human like me. It was unthinkable, unbelievable. It was practically impossible. But it was true. The other boys decided to leave of their own accord. They knew that my future would only need James at my side, so that each decided to start their own lives in the human world. James was heartbroken at first, but understood that he had to let his brothers grow like he did. Besides, James had someone new to care for. His brothers didn't need him now that he was caring for me. I felt bad as well, for being closer to James than the others, but they reassured me that I was okay and that they would remain nearby should I ever need them. I was happy for that. They made me promise, however, that I would love James for as long as we lived. That promise was instantly given. But what of my future? Well, it was kind of made for me. Before I graduated, James decided to step into the light of the Anderson Toys Company and, with the help of his demon powers and leadership charisma, he managed to influence not only the entire board, but my father as well into letting him run for CEO. I was beyond shocked. How James managed to do all that was beyond me. But when the vote was called, James had taken over the company I was destined to have. He vowed to respect the wishes of the late CEO and help the company become an even grander company. For a demon, it was simple to make a company grand. My grandfather would have been proud to see how James helped it shine. With the CEO position filled, my father had no choice but to let me decide my future, which made me happy beyond compare. No longer would I have the future scaring me into a corner. I could choose my life on my own. That being said, I was still scared of where the future was going to take me. What did I want to do? Did I want to help James build the company? Did I want to venture off on my own? James reassured me that he would support me and help me through whatever I decided to do, promising that I came first before the company he had come to reign over. I was grateful and would never forget that promise. I was happy and nothing could shake me down from that happiness. One night, a good couple of years after the boys and I had met, I had a moment to myself, so I sat in my room and took in all that had happened as if it were all a dream. The demons, the devils, the magic, it all was surreal to believe. It almost frightened me to think that it could have been all a dream. But the warm feeling in my heart reminded me that it was real. The demons, the magic, the love I had, all real. I smiled as I held my hands to my chest, relishing in the feelings dancing within my soul.
Are you okay?
I looked up from my lap to see James standing at the doorway, cross-armed with a playfully raised eyebrow. I smiled and blushed a bit. Yeah, I'm okay. I was just remembering how we met and such.
Were you now?
Yeah, and I wouldn't change anything. James smiled and walked over to me, gently taking my hands and kissing over the knuckles sweetly.
Come, I have a surprise for you.
Oh. I raised an eyebrow. A surprise? What the heck was he plotting? James simply chuckled and kissed my forehead.
I promise you'll love it.
All right then. Deciding to go along with it, I nodded and stood up. James gently took my arm under his and led me out of my bedroom. I stared in shock at the path of golden rose petals lining the floor, creating a path away from my door. James led me down the golden rose path as if this was all a part of his plan. James? What's going on? James didn't answer. He continued to lead me down the stairs of the lobby where the path wound into the dining room. I stared in shock as I saw the table set with candles and a large bouquet of golden roses decorating the middle. James, I feel sort of underdressed, you know?
There's nothing wrong with how you look now. You're beautiful no matter what clothes you are in.
Aw, that's so sweet of you. I couldn't help but let a red blush paint my face, making James chuckle once again. He led me to my seat, where I was greeted with a plate of shrimp pesto on the table. James!
Remember what that is?
Of course! That, sir, is a shrimp pesto dish. James laughed and smiled. I smiled back up at him, feeling nostalgia run over my heart. Giddy happiness bubbled as I looked up at the man I had loved. You made it when we first met, when you and your brothers were apologizing for getting blood in the lobby.
Well, it was more than that we had to apologize for, but that was the gist of it, yes.
How could I forget? What's this all about? James gently bent forward and kissed my forehead sweetly, making me giggle slightly.
You are such a wonderful woman. I can't believe that I can love someone this much. You have changed my whole world, and now you have become my everything. I practically get scared waking up every morning in case this is all just a blissful dream.
James! Before I could speak further, James gently placed his fingers on my lips, hushing me, before he caressed my cheek. I nuzzled into his hand, almost purring at the feel of the warmth against my cheek.
I love you, and I will never stop loving you. No matter what comes our way, I promise to be there for you as long as time keeps moving. I want to be yours forever.
Oh my god! Oh my god, he is it! He is! Holy crap! Oh my god. Okay. Whew. Before I could realize what was going on, James slowly got down on one knee beside me and took out a small black box. He lifted the top to reveal a beautiful ring with a purple gem crowned with gold and purple embellishments. I stared, my mind instantly freezing in surprise at the sight. I felt my eyes water at the immense feelings bursting inside my chest. I'm feeling the same thing, you know. Oh my god.
Will you, Miss Anderson, marry me?
Ah! I'm sorry. Okay. I was speechless. I felt myself break and start to weep in joy. Was this happening? This had to be a dream. I mentally begged every single deity in the sky to never wake me up if that was the case. I felt my tears, trying to speak to answer his question. I didn't want to leave him in the dark, and I didn't want him to be on the ground for long. Yes! Yes, I will! I stood up, crying and jumping in joy as James smiled the biggest smile I had ever seen on his face and slid the ring onto my ring finger. As it finally ended its upward journey at the crevice of my finger, James stood up and took me into his arms, kissing me and sealing my words. I gained the heart of a demon. No, of a man I loved. I vowed to cherish him and love him for the remainder of my days and beyond. Could a demon love a human forever? I knew James would. And that was my happily ever after. Woo! Finished his route. And that's the end of James' route. But wait, I have a surprise coming for you soon. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!